Libra darling, let's not pretend anymore, you feel it, don't you? Something is being said. A big rumor is spreading. And whether they're whispering your name or not, somehow, you're right at the center of it. But here's what the universe needs you to know from the very first second of this message. This is not about what they're saying. It's about who you're becoming. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where no one ends up here by accident. If you've landed on this video today, Libra, I want you to pause and take that as your first sign. Because the timing of this message is divine. It isn't just a horoscope reading. It's a moment of sacred alignment. And whether you arrived here feeling curious, confused, or quietly overwhelmed, I want you to know, this message was always meant to find you. You see, something subtle but powerful has been building. Lately, you may have noticed strange energy around you, sideways glances, tension you can't quite explain, conversations that go silent when you walk in. You might even question yourself, am I imagining this? Is it me? And yet, your spirit knows better. It isn't just noise. It's spiritual turbulence. You're not just being watched, you're being activated. Right now, Mercury is in retrograde, traveling through the house of secrets and closure. The moon is in Pisces, opening the gates of deep intuition. And the sun? It's illuminating your 12th house, the place where karma dissolves and truth reveals itself. In short, Libra, the skies are aligning to bring hidden truths to the surface. And yes, your name is written in the stars of this shift. But this is not a call to react. This is a call to rise. To breathe. To trust the stillness inside of you when the world around you stirs with noise. Because no matter what is being said, the most powerful energy in the room is the one that stays grounded in its light. Libra, I want you to understand something clearly. People don't talk about you because you've failed, they talk because your light unsettles the parts of them still lost in shadow. You are grace under pressure, balance in chaos, softness that holds power. Of course, you're the center of attention. You always have been, even when you tried to hide. Let me take a moment to thank you. Truly. Thank you for being here. For listening. For showing up for your own soul in a world that wants you to second-guess your glow. Every like, every comment, every subscription is not just an act of support, it's an act of cosmic alignment. You are co-creating this sacred space with us here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. And your presence means everything. Now, Libra, before we go deeper, I want to ask you something. Can you feel this message is meant for you? Then say it. Ground it. Type it below. Write, I claim the truth that was always mine. Let the universe see you take your seat in your own story. Don't hold back your voice, not here, not now. And stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal may change the way you see not just the rumor but your entire role in the divine plan. Sometimes, Libra, your light doesn't just illuminate the room, it reveals what others have hidden from themselves. It's not that you're seeking attention or stirring conflict. On the contrary, your very presence carries a quiet kind of power, a frequency that naturally disturbs energies still tangled in their own shadows. You were born under the sign of balance, beauty, and justice. But cosmic balance isn't always calm. Sometimes, it disrupts. And when your aura stands tall in clarity and truth, it has a way of exposing what others have tried so hard to keep buried, especially within themselves. Right now, the skies mirror that inner ripple effect. Astrologically speaking, the sun shining through your 12th house is activating unconscious realms, not just in you but in those around you. And with Mercury retrograde stirring the pot of old narratives and hidden motives, it's no wonder tensions are rising. The moon in Pisces, so deeply intuitive, only amplifies what you're already sensing. Certain people feel uneasy, and they may not even know why. But you do. Their unease is not rooted in something you did, it's a reflection of what they've refused to deal with internally. This is where tarot provides further confirmation. The High Priestess appears when truths are felt before they are seen, when the unspoken becomes undeniable. You know more than you're letting on, not because you're nosy or invasive, but because your soul has been trained to sense the unseen. The Seven of Swords suggests someone in your field is not being fully transparent. They may be hiding behind half-truths or projecting their own fears onto you. Still, the Justice card, your card, brings a higher message. Balance will be restored, and you will not need to lift a finger to make it so. The divine order is already in motion. Energetically, this is the law of attraction in its rawest form. When you raise your vibration, two things happen. The right people are drawn closer, and those who are not aligned fall away, sometimes loudly, sometimes through whispers, rumors, or distance. But understand this, the reaction you're witnessing isn't about your actions. It's about your frequency. What you're hearing or sensing now is not truth, it's resistance. And resistance always shows up when something powerful is shifting. What's important for you, Libra, is to stay grounded in your knowing. Don't let the noise redefine who you are. When light shines brightly in a room long ruled by shadows, it's the light that seems intrusive at first. But over time, the light doesn't just reveal, it heals. Stay in that light. Stay in the stillness that follows a storm you didn't start but were born to rise above. In practical terms, this is a time to protect your peace by not over-explaining. Not everyone deserves a seat at your emotional table. You don't need to justify your boundaries. Your energy is sacred. Let those who resonate rise with you and let the rest drift away. You are not here to fix what's broken in others. You're here to embody what's whole within yourself. And remember, even when you feel misunderstood, you are not alone. You're being watched over, maybe not in dramatic miracles, but in the quiet timing of events that seem oddly perfect. That moment when the truth reveals itself without your effort. That unexpected support that shows up when you feel most isolated. These are modern miracles, Libra, hidden in the rhythm of a life lived in alignment. So if you're feeling tension around you, it's not a warning, it's confirmation. You're activating something greater than gossip. You're shifting the energetic blueprint. Keep walking. Keep glowing. The darkness may notice, but it cannot extinguish what was divinely lit. What you're going through right now isn't random, Libra, and it certainly isn't a punishment. When a rumor spreads, especially one that seems to circle around you without clear reason or origin, the human part of you may feel shaken. You may want to explain, to clarify, to restore a peace that feels unfairly stolen. But on a deeper energetic level, this is not chaos, it's a calibration. The universe isn't testing your reputation. It's testing your frequency. You see, when you grow, truly grow, not just in mindset but in vibration, there's a subtle shedding that takes place. The old environments, the old dynamics, the people who once felt safe begin to feel distant. Not because you've changed in the wrong way, but because you've evolved beyond the version of yourself they once understood. Your light has intensified. And light always stirs whatever has been hiding in shadow. Rumors are not reflections of your character. They are reflections of discomfort in those who cannot match where you are now, and that's okay. In astrological terms, when your 12th house is illuminated, as it is now, hidden truths come to the surface. It is a time of spiritual closure, karmic endings, and soul-level realizations. Mercury retrograde adds another layer, pulling up unfinished conversations and unresolved stories, not so they can be relived, but so they can be rewritten. You may feel like things are surfacing out of nowhere, but truly, these are echoes. They've always been there. Now, you are simply ready to hear them without losing yourself in their noise. There's a concept in energy work called resonance dissonance, the tension that occurs when a high vibration enters a space that's operating at a lower one. This is what you're experiencing. The tension is not evidence that you've done something wrong. It's evidence that you no longer fit where you used to belong. That discomfort is your soul whispering, keep rising. Don't shrink back. So what should you do? Nothing loud. Nothing dramatic. This isn't about retaliation. It's about preservation. The most powerful action you can take right now is to protect your peace. Let the rumors run their course, they always fade. But your energy, your truth, that endures. Instead of responding with defense, respond with stillness. Instead of offering explanations, offer yourself grace. Use this time to journal, not as a way of escaping, but as a way of listening. There is wisdom in your emotions. There are messages in your resistance. If something triggers you, don't dismiss it, decode it. Ask, what part of me feels the need to be seen right now? What part of me still believes I must earn my safety? The truth is, you don't. You are already safe. Not because others validate you, but because your center is rooted in something no rumor can touch. And while we often seek answers in astrology or tarot, sometimes the most sacred reminder is the simplest one: peace is a choice. And peace is powerful. In everyday life, choosing peace might look like turning off your phone for a few hours. It might mean drinking more water and less caffeine. It could be deleting a conversation thread that drains you, or saying no without apology. These aren't grand gestures, but they are energetic declarations. You're telling the universe, I know my worth. I don't need to prove it. So, Libra, take this moment as sacred. Not everyone will understand the light you carry, but those who matter will feel it. And more importantly, you'll feel it too. Let this be the season you stop looking for peace outside of yourself. It's already within you. Let the noise fade. Let your light remain. There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that builds in the heart of someone who has spent too long trying to be the peacekeeper in places that never truly honored their peace. Libra, you know this feeling intimately. The times you bit your tongue so the room wouldn't erupt. The moments you nodded and smiled to avoid confrontation, even when the words pressing against your lips were soaked in truth. How many times have you chosen silence not because you had nothing to say, but because you feared the cost of being misunderstood? It's a sacred trait, this willingness to hold harmony. And yet, there's a point where silence becomes self-abandonment. You weren't created to be agreeable. You were created to bring balance. yes, but not at the expense of your own center. The truth is, some people will still misjudge you, even when you're soft. Some will still talk, even when you've said nothing. And some will resent your light, even when you've done everything to dim it for their comfort. But peace, real peace, doesn't require you to shrink. It doesn't ask you to disappear behind politeness or smile while your spirit slowly fades. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the presence of alignment. And for someone like you, Libra, whose energy is so finely attuned to the emotional field of others, learning to distinguish between keeping peace and protecting peace is a transformative act. This is the shift happening in you now. You're no longer satisfied with superficial calm. You're craving something deeper, a kind of inner stillness that doesn't rely on external validation. That is the true fortress. Not a wall built from defense, but a sanctuary built from self-honoring. And sometimes, the most radical thing you can do is gently, quietly, choose yourself. To support this shift, you don't need to make a grand declaration. Begin with a few small acts that carry sacred intent. Try starting each day with 7 minutes of silence, not to control your thoughts, but to simply meet yourself. Let that space be where you reconnect with what's true beneath the noise. Or write a letter you'll never send. Pour into that page all the words you were too kind to speak. Let your truth flow in a place where it doesn't have to be edited or explained. You could even revisit sacred words that remind you of your deeper protection, not from others, but from the fear of being seen. When life feels loud and unkind, grounding into quiet scripture, like the reminder that we are guarded not just in flesh, but in spirit, can bring a kind of clarity that no rumor can touch. Whether you read them or simply breathe them in as a whisper over your life, these truths act like spiritual anchors, invisible, but unshakable. And don't underestimate the power of color in your healing process. Wearing or surrounding yourself with sapphire blue can help stabilize your energy and deepen your clarity. That hue resonates with your throat chakra and your intuition, two areas especially important when navigating emotional tension. It's not just about the aesthetic. It's about wearing a frequency that affirms, I will not trade my truth for temporary approval. Libra, it's time to remember that your worth is not up for debate. You don't need permission to exist fully. You don't need applause to speak gently and honestly. The real peace you're looking for isn't found in making others comfortable, it's found in reclaiming the space where you can breathe without permission. You are allowed to protect that space. You are allowed to be fully you. And most of all, you are allowed to be at peace even when others are not. Even when you're misunderstood, Libra, you don't have to surrender your grace. That's the quiet power of your sign. You know how to walk through a storm without letting it rearrange your soul. And yet, being misunderstood can still sting, especially when all you've ever wanted was to live in harmony, to be clear, kind, and fair. But here's a truth the universe has been slowly preparing you to receive. Your worth is not diminished by someone else's inability to see it clearly. You do not have to explain yourself into belonging. You simply have to keep showing up in truth. There is a moment in every awakened soul's journey when clarity replaces the need to convince. That's where you are now. The energy around you may be noisy, filled with misinterpretations or projections, but that doesn't mean you need to meet it with the same intensity. Your path forward isn't about defending your light. It's about embodying it. This is where we shift from reaction to revelation. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be aligned. The invitation now is to walk forward not in defense, but in discernment. And sometimes, that means choosing yourself even when others think you're being distant, or cold, or ungrateful. Sometimes, it means letting the misunderstanding be, without needing to fix it. Energetically, this week aligns with the sacred vibration of the number 7, a numerological portal of spiritual refinement. 7 is the number of divine insight, deep reflection, and soul elevation. It's often misunderstood because it works beneath the surface, far away from the applause of the external world. It calls you to release what no longer serves, not out of anger, but out of evolution. You've outgrown old roles, outdated identities, relationships built on one-sided clarity. And the only way to fully honor your growth is to stop trying to fit back into spaces that shrink you. From the perspective of the law of attraction, this phase is not about attracting more, it's about attracting real. You're no longer drawing in people who are dazzled by your beauty but blind to your depth. Now, you're magnetizing soul-aligned connections, people whose presence brings peace, not confusion. The kind of energy that doesn't need to be explained because it simply feels right. The kind that makes you feel like more of yourself, not less. And while it may seem like you're losing connections in this process, you're not losing anything essential. You're making room for something higher. Sometimes, what looks like rejection is actually redirection. Sometimes, what feels like being left behind is actually being lifted into a higher frequency where old patterns simply can't follow. That's not punishment, that's protection. That's grace. So let me invite you into a practice that grounds this awareness. Grab a notebook, or just sit quietly with yourself. Breathe deep. Then ask yourself 2 gentle questions. What is one thing I will no longer tolerate? And, what is one thing I choose now, purely for me? Don't overthink it. Let your answers flow like a whisper from your higher self. It could be as simple as, I will no longer stay quiet when something feels off, or, I choose peace, even if it means being misunderstood. Libra, your power is not in being louder. It's in being unwavering. Keep choosing yourself with kindness. Keep honoring your energy with clarity. Even if they don't get it. Even if they never will. You were not made to be easily understood, you were made to be deeply felt. And those who are meant for you won't require an explanation. They will simply recognize your light. And stand beside it. There's something deeply healing about bringing your energy back into your own body, especially in times when the outside world feels noisy or uncertain. When rumors circulate, or when people's projections and misunderstandings start swirling around you, it's easy to feel like your center is being pulled away from you. But Libra, this is when you need your body and your earthly routines the most. Grounding into your physical self is not just about survival, it's about sovereignty. And one of the most powerful acts of resistance against emotional chaos is taking care of yourself with intentional love. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. Start small, and start with your body. Pay attention to how you're nourishing yourself right now. When stress hits, it's tempting to reach for quick fixes: caffeine, processed sugar, distractions. But your nervous system is craving calm, not stimulation. Try choosing foods that restore your clarity instead of clouding it. Walnuts, leafy greens, and magnesium-rich snacks like pumpkin seeds or dark chocolate can help regulate your mood and bring down inflammation, not just physically, but energetically. Your body wants to be your ally. Treat it like a sacred container for peace. Your work life may also feel like it's vibrating with an undercurrent of tension, perhaps gossip, unspoken competition, or passive-aggressive energy. Instead of absorbing all of it, use it as a mirror. If the space around you feels unstable, it may be a sign that your soul is craving a different kind of structure, one with more integrity and alignment. This is a good time to reflect on your career goals and ask yourself honestly, does this path still match who I'm becoming? Even if you're not ready to make a leap, simply writing down what you desire to build in the next 3 months will clarify your next step. You don't need to have all the answers now, you only need to reconnect with your own intention. When it comes to money, be mindful of where your energy flows. Libra is generous by nature, often giving more than necessary just to avoid conflict or discomfort. But ask yourself, are you giving because it's aligned? Or because you're afraid of saying no? Be extra cautious with polite loans or emotional spending. Value doesn't only flow in currency, it flows in attention, time, and emotional labor. Reevaluate how you offer value to others, and how you receive it. Reciprocity is not selfish, it's sacred balance. And perhaps most tender of all, love. When your heart has been bruised or when whispers of doubt echo around you, it can feel easier to close off. But Libra, love isn't your weakness. It's your strength. The key is not to stop loving, it's to love wisely. The right person won't stir your anxiety or make you guess your worth. They will bring calm to your nervous system, not chaos. Don't rush. Don't chase. Love should feel like truth, not tension. Learn to sit with your own heart long enough that you stop confusing loneliness with self-abandonment. It's not being alone that hurts most, it's forgetting yourself in the presence of someone who cannot hold you well. All of this, your health, your work, your finances, your heart, are not separate pieces of your life. They're threads woven through your energy field. And how you care for them now, during this moment of emotional fog, determines how quickly you realign with clarity. You don't need to defend yourself from every whisper. You only need to protect your peace by honoring what's real, right here, right now. Choosing your well-being is not a detour from your spiritual path, it is the path. Let your routines become rituals. Let your choices become protection. Let your care become the quiet proof that you belong to yourself. Libra, you were never here to prove yourself. You were here to remember yourself piece by piece, truth by truth, moment by moment. And if you've made it this far into this message, into this space we've held together, then you already know deep down, the whispers, the misunderstandings, the shifting energy around you. None of it defines who you are. You are not required to shrink so others feel comfortable. You are not obligated to remain in places that question your worth. You are not here to endlessly explain your intentions to those unwilling to truly see your heart. You are here to live, to grow, and to shine in alignment with your highest self. What would happen, truly, if you stopped making room for stories that no longer serve you? If you stopped holding your breath just to keep the peace? If you let your light be just as big as it's always longed to be, without apology, without justification? Could it be that the rumors weren't meant to break you, but to reveal how far you've come from needing to be liked in order to be free? I want you to sit with this for a moment. What have you been holding on to that no longer holds you? What part of you is still trying to keep something alive that's already quietly slipped away? These questions aren't meant to cause pain, they're meant to bring liberation. Because you don't need permission to begin again. You only need honesty. and a willingness to trust that your peace, your clarity, your truth is enough. There will always be people who don't understand you, and that's okay. Let them go without resentment. There will always be energies that try to distort your light, but they can only succeed if you hand them your power. The real victory, Libra, isn't in winning anyone over. It's in refusing to lose yourself again. So, instead of looking back, I want to invite you to look within. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to let go of trying to fix how others see me, and instead nurture how I see myself? What if today was the day you chose peace, not because the world offered it to you but because you decided to become it? If this message resonated with you, if something deep inside you stirred while listening, I invite you to anchor it now. Type in the comments, I choose light and peace. Let that be your affirmation, your soul's agreement with the universe. Your energy matters here, and it contributes to something far greater than just a video. It becomes part of a ripple, a gentle, powerful wave of healing that begins with you. Before you go, I want to say thank you. Thank you for opening your heart to this message, for spending this sacred time together. Every like, every comment, every subscription to Zodiac Whisper Tarot is not just support, it's an act of spiritual alignment. It tells the universe, I'm ready to grow, to receive, to remember who I truly am. And believe me, this is only the beginning. You'll want to stay until the end of this season, because what the universe is preparing for you is far more beautiful than anything you've had to let go of. So hold your light gently but boldly. Stay rooted in the knowing that your peace is your protection. Your truth is your path. And your soul, yes, Libra, your soul is exactly where it's meant to be.